This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 56. It says, "The tender and delicate woman among you, which would not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness, her eyes shall be evil towards the husband of her bosom, and towards her son, and towards her daughter." Right? So I want to bring this lesson in by first giving all honor, glory, and praises unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rechak Kodash. I want to give double honors to my elders and apostles and elder bishops of Great Millstone who rule well, where I've learned this truth from. I want to say peace and salutations to you, Akim, you brothers out there laboring, pushing his word out in all truth and in sincerity, presenting your bodies as a living sacrifice, which is your reasonable service. I want to say shalom to you, Akwaf, meaning you Israelite sisters that may be listening, and also to you Israelites that are scattered across the four corners of the earth. You may look like these other nations, but your seed line goes back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, which is the chosen seed line. Shalom. So I'm also read in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 31, and verse 22. And it reads, "How long wilt thou go about, O thou backsliding daughter? For the Lord Yahweh hath created a new thing in the earth. A woman shall compass a man." Right? So I wanted to do this lesson today based on a clip that I came across on social media, which I will play for you, Lord willing. I'll play this clip for you. But it just goes to show that a lot of these women that are of the world today have absolutely no idea or have any sense of danger about being a loose woman in these times, right? So when I play this clip for you, you're going to understand exactly what I'm referring to, right? Because this right here, from a logical mindset, is very dangerous. Is a very dangerous thing to do as a woman, right? To go to these lengths just to get a bit of attention. I know a lot of our women, they're experiencing the fact that a lot of men are not approaching women now, so these women are stepping up the levels to try and win the attentions of men, but they're going about it the wrong way. Instead of being or being a feminine woman, they're doing it by other means, which clearly has negative implications, right? So I'm gonna play this clip for you, and you're gonna see exactly what I'm referring to, right?
I'm about to play the video, but a girl got on TikTok and bragged about how she went into the woods to meet up with 7 men she doesn't know to go drink. When she pops up, the men are concerned, telling her, "Why did she come?"
Whatever you've done tonight, please do not do that again. Do not come to the woods, middle of nowhere, with 7 men.
The fuck is funny? He being dead serious. Then you got people on social media trying to defend her actions.
Turned out completely fine. It turned out fine. Like, she's fine. And maybe it's just because, like, I've traveled a lot, like, as a young woman, and have done stuff like this, that maybe I'm also just naive, maybe I'm also an idiot and male-centered.
You are. Because as a grown man, if 8 random women tell me, "Come drink with us in the woods by yourself," I'm not going. You talking about she fine. She lucky to be fine. Even them dudes was shocked. They stressing, "Bro, why did you come? Why did you come out to the woods with 7 men you don't know to come get drunk? Why?" Does nobody have any sense of self-preservation anymore?
So as you can see, that situation has every possibility of going wrong, right? Now, during the times that we're in, where these men out here, these men that have, been thirsty, so to speak, not really receiving any attention from women because women have set these high standards. A lot of these men, when society starts collapsing, are going to take it upon themselves to help themselves, right? So I'm going to read in the book of Ecclesiasticus, the book of Sirach, chapter 26, verse 9, and it reads this. It says, "The whoredom of a woman may be known in her haughty looks and eyelids." So when you look at women of today, a lot of them love to, use these filters on these social media apps. They love to put on makeup and, sort of overdo it to pretty themselves up, Now, as I continue reading, in verse 10, it says, if thy daughter be shameless, keep her in straitly. So if your daughter's one of them type of women that crave attention, they do a lot of crazy things for attention. They, they're sort of shameless, so to speak. They wear the shorts that ride all the way up, or the mini skirts and the low cut tops. If they be shameless, the scriptures say keep her in straitly, meaning don't let her out the house, right? If she's the type to be that way, don't even let her out the house, right? Because it says, if thy daughter be shameless, keep her in straitly, lest she abuse herself through overmuch liberty, right? When it's talking about abuse herself, like she's gonna be out there just, being anybody's who's able to tell her all the things that she wants to hear, right? And she's gonna abuse herself, meaning rack up that body count, right? Rack up, these stories and these rumors about what she's like, right? Which is going to turn any man off. If she looks for a future potential man that's a good man, he may be turned off by by that activity, right? So as we continue on in verse 11, it says, watch over an impudent eye, and marvel not if she trespass against thee, right? So it's saying keep an eye on her, watch over her, like don't take your eyes off her, right? It says, and if you do take your eyes off her, basically, it says, marvel not, like don't be surprised if she trespass against you. Like if she's, if you're not keeping an eye on her and she goes off and does her thing and embarrasses you, or whatever the case may be, don't be surprised, right? So we're going to continue reading in verse 12. It says, she will open her mouth as a thirsty traveler when he have found a fountain, and drink of every water near her. You don't really have to go into a lot of detail with what that means. She will open her mouth as a thirsty traveler. You get the idea, right? It says, by every hedge will she sit down and open her quiver against every arrow. Now, again, you know what I mean? Like when I was saying about racking up that body count, they won't have respect for themselves because they just crave so much that attention. That's one of the things that the women of today are plagued with, is that attention. They'll do anything for the attention. That's why you see a lot of these social media videos, or these social media influencers doing the most, right? Just for that little click, or that, them little likes that they receive, right? Now you may have some women of the world that are like, well, what's wrong with that? What's the problem? What the problem is a lot of these women are soon, as I mentioned, they have no sense of danger, but a lot of these women are soon going to find out how ugly and how unsafe this world is about to be for unprotected women that clearly have no fear of the Lord, right? They're going to soon find out how crazy life is going to be. I'm going to read in the book of Isaiah, chapter 32, and I'll read verse 9, right? So it says, rise up, ye women that are at ease. Hear my voice, ye careless daughters. Give ear unto my speech. Now, anytime you have men on social media that are telling women to, cover up, to be modest, don't, leave everything on display for show for everybody, because it's going to end up ugly. But you have a lot of these women that are in the world today arguing with men, saying you can't tell us how to dress, we can do what we want with our bodies, etc., etc. It's not to police your body, it's more so to protect you from the dangers that are posed by men of the world, right? Because you will have men of the world that will take advantage, you know what I mean? And now, when you have these men that have a bit of wisdom about them, saying, hey, you need to cover up, you need to do this, they're not doing it to police you, as I mentioned, they're just trying to protect you, right? And this is what it says to those women that say, you can't tell us what to do. Isaiah 32:9, I'll read it again. It says, rise up, you women that are at ease. Hear my voice, ye careless daughters. Give ear unto my speech. It says, many days and years shall ye be troubled, ye careless women, right? Because it is careless to act that way around a group of men, right? Going off into the woods on your own with a group of men to drink alcohol. That's absolutely crazy. I couldn't imagine somebody that I knew that would be in my vicinity doing something like that. You know what I mean? It's crazy for me to not even say, hey, that's a stupid idea. Why would you do that? Right? But again, it says in Isaiah 32:10, it says, many days and years shall ye be troubled, ye careless women. It's the reason he put the careless women in there. It says, for the vintage shall fail, the gathering shall not come. Now, a lot of these women are complaining online that they're not, men are not approaching them because men are tired of dealing with the headache that comes along with it.
We are losing men to peace. We are losing men to ourselves. Men no longer prioritize women. The man at peace is an unbuyable man. Some women are still thinking that men are in that scenario of chasing after, calling, despairing, for the lack of a woman, for her absence, when in reality, today's man, he is increasingly valued. He understood that a woman is not the center of his life, that a woman is not the most important thing in the world. It is perfectly possible to live without
in the
one.
UK, I find men don't approach. I've got a friend in Canada who says the exact same thing. Like, they're not really trying to approach. And I don't know if that's because they're shy or they think they're going to get shut down, or if they just have so much choice with women they don't have to anymore. Because I also know a lot of male friends who say they don't have to approach women.
So you're saying that nowadays men just don't approach women?
So it says, for the vintage shall fail, the gathering shall not come. Then as we continue, it says, tremble, ye women that are at ease, be troubled, ye careless ones. Strip you and make you bare, and gird sackcloth upon your loins, right? Meaning you're getting ready to be brought down to a lower state, right? The Lord's getting ready to bring these proud and haughty women down, right? Now, a lot of these women, when you tell them something to that magnitude, again, they'll buck up and they'll argue with you, or they'll come against you, right? This is what it says in the book of Micah. This is the book of Micah, chapter 7, I'll start at verse 9. And it reads, I will bear the indignation of the Lord Yahweh, because I have sinned against him, right? And that's what we took on ourselves as men. We were put under the woman, essentially. That's why it says a new thing, a woman shall surpass a man. The Lord put that on us because we sinned against him. The Lord turned our women against us, right? He put us under them curses. It says, I will bear the indignation of the Lord Yahweh, because I have sinned against him, until he plead my cause and execute judgment for me. He will bring me forth to the light, and I shall behold his righteousness. So the elect men that the Lord's woken up and brought back into this truth, the Lord's getting ready to protect them and show them a wonder, right? And, the women that choose to, continuously live in the world and do what they want to do, they have no fear of the Lord. They don't even want to listen to what the Lord has to say, right? The Lord's getting ready to judge them. Verse 10 says, then she that is mine enemy shall see it, and shame shall cover her, which said unto me, where is the Lord Yahweh, thy power? Mine eyes shall behold her, now shall she be trodden down as the mire of the streets. I'm going to play some more clips in this lesson just to give you an idea of how bad things are about to get and how scary it can turn drastically, right?
Guy's been following us. Oh my god. Just stop. He passed us. I think it's time to go. He's following our car.
Sophia, he's leading him somewhere.
Okay, we're getting off. He spoke to the driver, asked him where we were going. Film him. We literally were running. Kept ducking into different stores.
This is the moment a convicted sex offender stared at a woman as she worked out in a Lewisham High Street gym. Mohammed Aminu, 28, was last week convicted of stalking the woman in NRG gym after following her through the facility. Here he can be seen hiding behind a wall, peeping at the woman as she worked out. She was left terrified she might be killed by the predator, prompting her to ask a male friend to come to the gym to escort her home. The gym was unstaffed at the time. Aminu entered by coercing another member into letting him into a security pod with her. The victim, who cannot be named for legal reasons, told us that she knew something was wrong as soon as she noticed Amanu watching her while she exercised late at night in the 24-hour gym. After first spotting him sitting behind her and staring, she started filming him in an attempt to deter him. She then moved away to another part of the gym, but he followed her and continued watching her through the mirrors. She then moved again to the common area of the gym, but she later saw Amanu hiding behind a wall, peeping around the corner as he waited for her. When her friend arrived and confronted Amanu, the predator smiled and claimed it was all a misunderstanding before leaving the gym through the staff door that had been left unlocked. The victim told us, "I knew he had ill intent, and I just want to urge everyone to be aware of your surroundings at all times and trust your gut. He was hiding behind the wall waiting for me. If I'd just left without thinking and hadn't used my initiative and waited for my friend, he could have followed me out and anything could have happened. When I found out he was a convicted sex offender and that he's been convicted of stalking before, it just reinforced the fact that my fears were very valid. It's only a matter of time before somebody gets hurt in the worst
This journalist was essayed by over 200 men right after the camera battery died.
This is about freedom.
Laura Logans was a well-known journalist for CBS News, and on February 11th of 2011, her and her crew found themselves in Egypt because the president had resigned. Laura was covering the celebrations in Tahrir Square where people were chanting, happy, and celebrating their freedom until things took a turn for the worst. While Laura and her crew were filming, the camera's battery suddenly died, and as the men around her started to notice, their celebrations quickly turned to violence. The men started to gather around her so that she was separated from her crew, and for the next 25 minutes, she was essayed in the most horrible way. They tore off her clothes, took pictures with their cell phones, pulled her body in different directions, essayed her with flagpoles and sticks, and even ripped out her hair in chunks. Thankfully, a group of women were camping nearby, saw what was happening to her, and were able to pull her out. Laura survived just barely and returned to the US, but since there were so many men that did this to her, they weren't able to prosecute any of them. But instead of staying quiet, Laura came forward with her story in hopes it would prevent this from happening to other women, especially in her field. Prayers to this poor woman. Let me know what you guys think, and as always, I'll keep you guys updated.
This is why it is important that women walk in wisdom in this truth and seek after the Lord even more, because you want the Lord to protect you in these times. The Lord, you want the Lord to lead you to a righteous man who the Lord is looking after, not one of these Pookie and Ray Rays, right? That ain't no good for you, but a righteous man with understanding. That's what you want them to lead you to, or you want the Lord to lead you to. Now, if the Lord leads you to a righteous man, you're going to be all right. And it does say in the scriptures that, a man shall be as an hiding place. I'm going to get that in the book of Isaiah. I believe it's chapter 32. Yeah, so it says, Isaiah chapter 32 and 2, it says, and a man shall be as an hiding place from the wind, and a covert from the tempest, as rivers of water in a dry place, as the shadow of a great rock in a weary land, right? So, the wind being like the destruction and all the chaos that's getting ready to take place, right? It says a man shall be as in hiding place from the wind. When you're stuck out on a windy day, you're getting blown around, you want that covering. That man's going to be like that covering for you. It's going to be like a hiding place, because you ain't going to want to be out on the streets when all hell breaks loose, especially without the protection of the Lord. You're going to be out there trying to figure it out, because there ain't nobody coming to help you through that, right? Again, it says, and a covert from the tempest, as rivers of water in a dry place, as the shadow of a great rock in a weary land, right? So you're going, if you're out in a dry place, that drop of water is going to be life or death for you. You know what I mean? And what it's saying is that man of the Lord, that righteous man that the Lord is protecting, is going to be that drop of water, that river of water. That's what he's going to be like, right? So, again, I do say this, in closing. I'm going to close it here, but I do say this, that it is imperative that you seek the Lord, and that you pray that the Lord has mercy upon you, right? Because it's going to be a serious time, and you want that protection, right? So again, I pray that this lesson has been edifying. through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahweh Shai. I want to give double honors to my elders and apostles and elder bishops of Great Millstone who ruled well, who taught me this truth. I want to say peace to you hopeful elect that have been listening. And I want to say shalom. It's on to the next, Lord willing. Shalom, shalom.